welcome to a brand new episode of No Planet B. Today we have with us Abhijith and Wazeer, the founders of TreeTag. TreeTag is a digital-based climate solution that offers to plant trees, geo-tag them, and much more. We'll get to know more about TreeTag today and their journey to reduce carbon emissions. Welcome Abhijith and welcome Wazeer. First of all, congrats on winning Climathon 2022, hosted by Kerala Startup Mission and EY. Huge achievement. And I'm so happy we could sit down and talk about TreeTag today. So welcome again.
Thank you, Shruthi. Thank you for inviting to the show. And yeah, we are happy to be on the show. It's actually our privilege to be on this program.
Can you take us through what you're building at TreeTag and how did the journey begin?
TreeTag started in the year 2019. Okay, so I was actually completing my masters, and after my masters, I was involved in some social impact projects with the support of an NGO called Tunnel. That time and all, we have no idea of how we are going to start TreeTag. We didn't have any idea of TreeTag itself. So that time my projects were mostly revolving around waste management and all. Then suddenly one day, one of my mentor, Dr. Kumar, the executive director of Tunnel, actually called me and said, there is a possibility we could actually explore, that is digitizing the data of trees. So he gave me just an idea and he asked me to think about it. So I just thought about it like, why can't we digitize the data like trees? Because we say we have a lot of forest cover, but we don't have the numbers. In terms of numbers, we don't have that. I discussed the same idea with my classmate Ashutosh Bisai. He's the lead developer, who's the tech guy, who's the guy who's responsible for the complete tech these days. So I discussed the matter with him, and he further discussed with his friends. There were a lot of opposition. Why would someone do the digitization process, and what is the revenue model? Because most of our friends who work in the corporate world, they were on to like, okay, there is no way profit can be made through the system and all. It would be purely on a charity mode. Such kind of thought process came from that side. So it was initially a very big mind block to make this idea work out. Then suddenly Ashu said that we can do that, because he had an idea like we would do that because the executive director Jayomar sir said that they have a pilot project that is called the carbon neutral Meenakumari, which is in Wayanad, which is one of the first carbon neutral project. So he said that they have around like 7,000 plus trees there, but they don't have any digital data. Like they don't know where the trees are exactly. Like they know the location, but they don't have it in a digitized form, in kind of a map or something like that, which lasts for long. But only they have in a paper based records only, which most of them is damaged as well. So I said to Ashu that we can do that. This would be our first prototyping, and after that we could work on that. So this is how we started. We made a very simple platform, very base one, without having any good interface or something. Very simple platform within a week's time, and we with the help of like 30 volunteers from that NGO Tunnel, we were able to digitize 7,000 trees within a span of 1.5 months. So this was our first breakthrough, and this gave confidence in us, and we slowly started. Once this was done, we started getting orders from people like, can we also do, like individual people also started coming to us like, we also want to do the plantation and want to digitize. So individual requirement came. Then a project from Mahindra Logistics, that was also from NGO Tunnel itself. They were doing the tree plantation activities as part of CSR. So the Tunnel offered them that the digitization can also be done. So we became the technological partner, and that was our first corporate work which we did in combo with Tunnel. Then after that, a lot of individual works came in. So slowly started, there is a possibility of profit as well. So as in the website said, there is TreeTag is doing it in both manner. Like when it comes to student community, today TreeTag has a very good database of a lot of trees and communities. We are doing the TreeTag platform free for students. Like national service scheme students are doing free of cost with our system. Like around 10,000 plus students are already doing the system. So one way our idea is to bring maximum number of trees, just not trees, the fully grown mature trees which could actually contribute to the restoration of our ecosystem. So we know that there is a lot of mechanism by which carbon from the atmosphere can be reduced. Okay, there is artificial mechanism as well as natural. But why trees? Because trees are natural system, natural thing. Apart from that, they are a habitat. A single tree is a habitat for a small organism, lot of birds, animals. It's very important. So it's an emotion as well. If you look onto that. So what our idea was to is that one side we keep it open for the corporate and other organization who are responsible for carbon emission. They do that and we take profit in that part, and the other part for the communities, for the students, we take it open, we take it free, so that maximum number of trees comes to the system, comes to the not only the digital part as well as the real time. The trees would be fully grown, and the restoration happens in a very quick and effective manner. So that's the way TreeTag works in. That's our that is our focus, and that's the way we are moving forward as well. Yeah.
I love how it's not just about the environment, but you're also trying to bring a societal aspect to it involving students. So it's very interesting how you're bringing business and environment and everything together in one basket. That's pretty impressive. And I'm sure the courage behind to do this, to start this mission, I truly applaud it. And uh, my next question to you is I have checked out the map provided on the website. So the data is pretty open and transparent for the general public. So I know sitting here that who planted what trees and where. So this makes CSR initiatives, which we read about a lot, way more meaningful and transparent in nature. So are there any projects that you would like to share with us that you're currently working on?
Yeah, so there is a project we are trying to work on. Actually, I wouldn't like to name that project because of the confidentiality of the corporate organization. But we are doing a lot of projects with many organizations. Apart from that, we are also working with a major carbon company in Amazon rainforest. That project is going very good. It is very close to its implementation as well. So a lot of projects are happening there, and as you said, the CSR projects are more are getting a new facelift here. Like because earlier times they would say that we have planted around like 1,000 trees or 1 lakh trees. They do the initial plantation of 5 saplings from their employees, and they would keep a banner behind and they would post it in their social media. But this is not like that. This is actually giving transparency to the public. So they said they are planting 1,000 trees in this area. Any public can go and visit that because we can click it, and there is a system to redirect to that location using a Google map. So such kind of transparency is there, and this is actually a limitation as well, because to be honest, there are certain organizations which came to us saying that they want this facility, but they don't want the retagging process to be done. Only the single time process has to be done. So that is actually doing a gimmick on this part. You see, whenever the sapling is being planted, that time they use the digitization service. After that, they don't want the retagging process, because if the retagging process is done, that is the time we would be able to understand whether the sapling is died or not. So certain organization says that they don't want any retagging process, but certain organizations are very strict. They are like contributing not for the initial planting as well, but for the taking care of the sapling for at least 5 years. They are contributing that level of system to the tree plantation activity. So such projects are very efficient, because even retagging process is available in that case. So CSR is taking maximum of it, and certain organizations are trying to just do the gimmick on.
Got it.
Because most of the corporate sectors are now focusing on ESG reporting part also. So
Yes.
as part of the data reporting purposes, they are now focusing on this type of solution also. So that's what more inquiry now we are getting in based on ESG purpose, how the activities can be moved forward.
Also, whenever it comes to corporate planning and all, we are in collaboration with a lot of NGOs. Like, see, if we look onto the system, there are corporate organization who would like to do the tree plantation activities. Okay, but they can't do it by themselves because finding out land, preparing the land, purchasing the sapling, taking to the location, do the plantation process, and further taking care. That process is pretty difficult for the corporate to do themselves, apart from doing their activity. So they would like to take the help of any other organization, and mostly this is being done by NGOs. So NGOs, when they do that, they have a gap. How are they going to show they are efficient? So that is how TreeTag comes in. So NGOs have a particular dashboard with our system where they can show their efficient plantation activities, their history of plantation, how much is their efficiency, total how many hectares they have covered. So TreeTag has different kind of dashboard. One is for corporate dashboard, where the corporate can get to know the status of their CSR activities, tree plantation, like filtration, all kind of filtration is available in the corporate dashboard. Whereas in the NGO dashboard, they they can show their plantation activities. They can add more volunteers to go to the field and do the. One is plantation and tagging, other is viewing the data. That is, the corporate is viewing the data, fetching the result for the ESG purpose and all. So literally it bridges the gap between the corporate and NGO. That's how the TreeTag platform works effectively between the NGOs and CSR activities.
Got it. Often that is the one link that's missing. That digital end, that digital run, the final run, that is what's missing. The link between corporates, NGO, and also this makes both the systems accountable, not just the CSR initiatives as we discussed, but also the NGOs.
And one more interesting fact is that, as I said, most of the NGOs who are doing who are in collaboration with us are doing the tree plantation activities, and these NGOs take care that the trees are planted mostly on the lands of farmers, not on public places or barren lands and all. Mostly on the areas of farmers, and the trees mostly are fruit bearing trees. Why? Because when it is a fruit bearing tree and it is on a farmer's land, the farmers maximum try to protect it, and because they are getting the fruits out of it when it's fully grown. So in a way, we are trying our system maximum to be efficient, so that the tree survive, not the first time planting, but as well the tree survives for at least like 20 to 30 years, and we take care in a complete angle. NGO, which is responsible, which is in the field for at least 20 to 30 years, that farmer who's interested and is requiring a fruit bearing tree. Only to those area the plantation is happening. Not on like barren land or public place. Such areas we are avoiding. Only these specific areas where we believe that the tree plantation would be effective. That area only the tree plantation activities are happening.
That extra edge of detail and that thought, like Wazeer, do you remember the last time we had a chat? We discussed briefly about how because I'm an architect and I'm into sustainable architecture, we have this clause that how if you cut one tree, you have to plant 3 trees. So that's the clause. So if in these cases, I can use a portal like TreeTag to show that I'm accountable. I have actually planted 3 trees that I'm claiming that I did. So while going through a website, there was this term, natural economic zone. So as an architect, if there's a green space designated in my campus, and if I get in touch with TreeTag, is there a way I can generate more value out of that green space?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, that's possible.
So what the idea of TreeTag natural economic zone is that see, when it comes to urban life, like city life, what we see is that we these days we have very little space for like urban forest and all. Okay, so what our idea was to that, if we have a particular area dedicated, like a particular area dedicated for a park or something like that, TreeTag have a very good expertise of how that can be designed to an economic zone. So not only all the trees would be digitized, apart from that, the full park would be planned and made in a such a manner that people can enjoy doing activities there. At the same time, a kind of revenue would be generated from the park as well for using it. So it would be an area where trees are protected. The trees and other plants, everything would be digitized. Not just trees, other plants and or whatever is inside that park or economic zone would be digitized. Also, people could engage in that region. Apart from that, those who are hosting it would get a revenue from it. Such kind of model is what is called TreeTag natural
And
economic.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
Wazeer.
and in addition to that, we can also adopt a more energy efficient techniques also for running this zone, like
Irrigation.
solar energy and other properties, waste management, proper waste management. Like a net zero center, it's what we are in manner what we are saying about, and how to what make profitable out of this net zero center is what we are looking. And also co-working spaces are also now focusing on, because most of the people in outdoor or in a natural way, how they can engage in and work peacefully. So that type of co-working spaces are also been aligned.
Yes, the biophilic nature of architecture is actually, very, it's hit these days. So you mentioned that you would provide the consultancy. Is it in-house or is it in collaboration with the organization?
Yes.
Like we have like architects within our team. We have mentors with our team. We are collaborative to some of the other organization as well. So this not is just not an idea. We have already started a project which is in Kerala, like in Chonnur. Already the entire project is there. We are digitizing that complete system in a manner, natural economic zone. Like it's not just trees there complete, like there is aquatic farm, there is
Exotic
plants,
species.
bees, a lot of aquatic species, butterfly gardens, everything is there. So such kind of digitization work is also being done, but that is a different project. Apart from trees, we are going a little bit further. Yeah.
Please.
So yeah, so basically the idea of tree tag natural economic zone is identify a particular area where not just trees are being planted, trees are planted in an efficient and economic manner. Apart from that, other species of plants and structures are also erected there, and people can use it. The host can get revenue from it, and the complete system would be in a carbon neutral manner. And the system is digitized. Any part of that park or zone, anyone wants to walk in, it can do that. And to get information about that, just click on it. Complete details, scientific details, users, all details would be there. So completely interactive system is what TreeTag is planning, like TreeTag natural economic zone, digitization plus a park.
Once this project is ready, please let me know. Like, I'll be following your page anyway, but still, I'm very curious to see the project.
This
And
project was actually our dream, and we were following. Especially Wazeer was behind this project for more than a month, I would say. And finally, we signed up the contract, and the project has started. The developing and all has started, and we are expecting the delivery to happen within 1.5 2 months. So within 2 months, I think the delivery would be complete, and will definitely share with you. And I think
yes.
Shruthi would be the first one to know that.
Oh,
Definitely.
thank you so much. And this would set an example not just for people in Kerala, but entire globe, because we need such examples. We are in desperate need of examples to show the world. Moving forward, I've read that carbon credits can be achieved from afforestation projects, but I've also read that it is document intensive, time intensive, and it's not that easy to comply with the carbon standards that one goes and chooses. So, is that true? And if so, is there a way around all this?
Carbon credit, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
credit is one of very complicated topics that revolves these days. To be honest, there is not like a standard organization, but there is like international organizations are like the gold standard where are there, which is doing the
But they
accreditation.
are so for carbon credit markets, there are voluntary carbon markets and other regulated. They are voluntary carbon markets. So there are a lot of issues are facing nowadays because for the registration and during the validation time itself, some of the projects are not getting registered. So
Okay.
that a lot of issues are facing in that side. You can add on to.
Yeah, so as Wazeer said, there are different organizations like Vera, Gold Standard, and Voluntary PCSS. So these organizations are responsible for issuing the carbon credits and all. So that is a very long process. Let me say that I have around like 20 hectares of land, and I'm trying to obtain carbon credits for this 20 hectares of land. So I intend to plant a lot of trees within this 20 hectares of land, and I started planting it. I'll inform these organizations that I'm gonna generate a lot
Like
of.
Abhi, and can add on to because there will be some of the process like a project concept note, project documentation, and consulting with organizations who are doing consultancy. Then the process of verification, validation stages comes up.
So,
Yeah.
as I said, there is a lot of process involved, but it can be like made easy as well because that depends upon the organization which is hosting it. This is what carbon companies actually does. Okay, and it is a belief that only the big companies investing a lot amount of money can do the carbon credit project. It's not like that. Normal projects can also be taken to a carbon credit level, but very good planning has to be done on that part because, as I said, these organizations take an upfront amount of huge amount of money for the registration and validation process. So if we are not focusing like a huge level of plantation and the project is not for like 10 to 20 years, then the crossing the break even would be a little bit difficult. But focusing the if we look onto the trend of carbon credit, it's increasing because day by day the value of carbon credit is increasing, and the estimated forecast for 2020 is pretty high as well. So keeping all things constant like the economic scenarios and global issues as a constant factor, then there is a high chance that the carbon credit market goes to a boost. But crisis like a like the pandemic we faced, corona, or if
Yes.
a major war comes in, then the most of the attention might go to different area. Like when it comes to normal living, if there is war or kind of a pandemic, then people would be more on to surviving kind of mindset. The environment part becomes little reduced. Okay, so that is the time when the corporate even forgets the fact of carbon credit or emission, carbon trading. Such activities go to a little bit lower level. But things are going good. If such kind of issue doesn't happen, then the value of carbon credit would go into a pretty good level because these days companies are really focusing on sustainable matter, since we don't have any major economic issues coming these days. Even though certain issues pops up, it is getting solved out within the system itself. It is not taking to a major breakdown or major crisis. So because of that, automatically the system is adjusting, which is a proof that the value of such projects is gonna go to a very high level if it is on a 20 to 30 years. So TreeTag is actually focusing on a big carbon credit project as well in our system. Initially we started doing the plantation and doing the system and all, but we found that there is a flaw in the system because we can't do that with the first doing the plantation and then going for the registration. We have to identify a particular level it has to be done.
Yes.
So some of our mentors who have around like 20 to 30 years in carbon credit and such area suggested that we take it a little slow because other parts of the projects also should not be affected. So by the end of 2025, we are looking on to get our carbon credit onto the system.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Uh,
by 2025, people can expect to come to TreeTag system. They can calculate their emission and they can purchase their carbon credits. And in our system, already the trees would be there. And if you are
wow.
purchasing the carbon credits, there would be a tree associated with the system, and you can navigate to the location. That kind of transparency TreeTag would be providing. But it would be around like 2025, 2026 to take launch to the market.
I'm in love with how you're not just thinking about today, you're thinking about 2025, 2020. The vision for your future is so beautiful to hear. And I'm sure it's just upward and onward journey for you guys. Look at you guys, vibrant and energetic. So I'm sure, I want to see that website and I'm already envisioning all this happening.
Yeah, so
Yes.
it was TreeTag didn't have this vision at all initially. TreeTag initially was started like an only digitization. We only had the focus of digitization. We didn't even know what carbon credit was at that time. So one of our director, like he's the mentor, Anu Babu, who is the director of Vaidyuti Energy
Right.
Service. Yeah, Vaidyuti Energy Service Limited. He's the one who introduced us to this carbon credit concept and all, gave a good understanding is what carbon credit. He shares us a lot of documentation. He also introduced us with the mentor who Vijay. He's the expert in carbon credit process and all. So he knows how the complete journey happens. Like he's doing for past 16 years. Registering a project, getting to carbon credit, all is being done by Vijay. So that's how Vijay is in the team, and that's how we are learning slowly. And we initially had a very bad system on to carbon credit. We were trying to incorporate carbon credit into the system every now and then. It didn't work because the value of carbon credit as of now is not that appreciated. So we were like, this many amount is required for per tree to raise it to 20 years. This many cost it would cost, and the value of carbon credit, it was not matching at all. So we were in a very desperate position, and we were not having any idea of how to take this to a different level. We iterated at least more than 1,000 times. We iterated. I think I, Wazeer and Ashu, there were days from morning 9 to evening 7. We were used to stand in front of a whiteboard, write, wipe off, write, wipe off. We used to do this for many days. Then we stop because we don't get any solution. We stop. We again start after 1 week, 2 week again. We keep on doing that, and sometimes we lose hope on that. But I somehow we again take it up and comes back, and finally I think this January we were able to sort out this problem. 2023 only, 2020, 2019 we started. We were not able to do anything. 2023 we were able to. January
Crack
we,
it.
yes, we were able to crack it. Not only that project, we were able to crack another major issue with the student project as well. Student project, even though we started for like on a free basis, we understood that there is a lot of issues happening, like handling 10,000 plus students, and a lot of other students also to be onboarded, like 4.5 lakh students to be yet onboarded onto the system. All around like 63 lakh of students from all over India. Such number of students to be onboarded into the system. The system has to be robust. Then how that system has to be developed in an efficient manner.
Managed.
Yeah, we need to make sure that the trees being planted by the students would survive. So such ideas were all bottleneck at a point, but 2023 is a good year, I would say that, because this year we sorted out all the problems, and now currently we have targets, milestones to be set. We are clear with our pathways, we are clear with our vision. We are now currently working on executing this process. So as I said, by 2025, we would expect our carbon credit project to roll out as a launch there.
All the very best to that dream. And I think my next question, I've already partially answered it because I could feel the struggle behind, what you have done and the sleepless nights. So mm, the final and the last question for today's episode was, what are the challenges that you are facing as a startup in the climate tech ecosystem? I know that companies have been more receptive to, offsetting their carbon and also more accountable, and also investments per se has increased in terms of climate tech startups. So how has been your experience as a startup, and what are the struggles you are facing?
So, as a climate tech startup, what I would suggest is that things, as I already mentioned, things are going smooth these days. No major crisis, no big war or pandemic. So that is one thing which is very good for not only climate tech startup, all other businesses are doing good because of we are not having any major crisis. Then is that as I said, when it comes to since our organization is purely on to like a tree plantation, tree protection, it's a long term process. It's not just on a sapling stage. We have to take it to at least 1 year so that the tree grows fully. Then 1 to 5 years it has to stay strong. Then after that, yeah, 90% of the tree would survive. Also, we need to look onto that. Someone won't cut that as well. So it's a long journey. So digitization is only one part. Apart from that, and there is always a limitation. We tried with drones, we tried with satellite as well. We have a certain organization which in collaboration with us who helps in satellite based support, but there is always a limitation to the zooming level, because beyond which it is not possible. So only when the tree is fully grown, then satellite based imagery could be useful. Till then, in the sapling form and all, satellite is not that useful, and it is a very dense packing, or if the trees are planted in a very close way, then
Crown cover, tree crown cover.
Okay.
yeah, pretty then satellite based tracking and all would not be easy, because manual has to be, it has to be done in a manual way. So yeah, manual tracking has to be done. And one advantage is that manual tracking ensures that if the tree is not healthy or something, then immediate measures can be taken up there. So it's a struggle on to raise the trees. Even though we are doing the digitization part, we are also responsible for the plantation, because these NGOs which are collaboration with us. So surprise level audits are all conducted from our end to ensure that the NGOs tree plantation is going good. They say their plantation is going good, but apart from that, our team also do the surprise verification and all whether it is going good. If not, we'll inform them. So that part is happening, but still we are always concerned. We even once try to develop a sensor kind of thing, so that we can get a real time data from the tree to directly our system. So we don't need to go to the trees in the go to the fields and check that, which is a time consuming process. But when it comes to installation of sensor, their energy, that is another big problem. So we had to drop it. That was a prototype we tried to develop, and we had to drop it depending upon the scalability and other factor and all. But still, what we see is that if the and when it comes to the support from the organization and governmental organization these days to the climate tech startup is very high. Focus was earlier onto the industrial sector, but these days, uh,
Startups
the
are
public, yes,
also involving in more discussions and activities also.
yeah, state as well as central governments are allotting a lot of fund in terms of green energy and coming is to carbon neutrality and all. So I would say it's a right time. It's a very good time, and we are having a pretty good backup from the both organizations, state as well as centers. Apart from that, Kerala Startup Mission is also backing us. And a lot of mentors are there, and the respect we get from the organizations, communities, and people like you and other organizations when it comes to a social impact startup. Earlier, when it comes to tree plantation, people wouldn't like what they are doing, but these days people know what the importance of what we are doing, and they are actually supporting us. So it's a pretty good journey these days. And I would say that if such kind of economic problems doesn't happen at least for 2 years, then things would go in a very good manner. And I think India is pretty these days very much robust onto their economic system. Major worldwide system is not affecting that much to our economic system. We are almost standing out in our system. Export and other activities of our country is also booming. So I would suggest that we are already self-sufficient in terms of a lot of activities, and we are going good as well. So yeah, that's all.
So there's this quote that goes that the future is green, and if not, there's no future at all. So, thank you for doing what you do. And in the conversation that we had today, what I felt that if I plant a tree via TreeTag, it's not just that I know that it will get planted, but I know that it's going to it's going to stay for years because of the kind of system that you have built, where you do due diligence, you go visit the site, and you ensure that the NGOs are taking care of it, and you're also thinking in terms of, should I add a sensor, how do I track it, the thought that goes behind it. I know that the tree that I'm going to plant will survive and will contribute toward cutting down our carbon emissions. So huge respect to what the time and effort that you and the entire team of TreeTag is putting towards building this, and it's very much required for our greener future, and not just for human beings, and like you rightly mentioned before, for the entire ecosystem. It is relevant, the work that you are doing today, and thank you so much. And before we conclude, individually, can you please share your final thoughts or some message that you want to give to our audience?
So my message is that these days, most of the students, most of the younger generation are more onto social media, Instagram, and all. But we need to focus on other part as well. A lot of people and their time and energy are being worked on, like entertainment sector, like making on a reel, doing that reel. But half of the time is required to do that tree plantation, and that can also be digitized using Instagram. TreeTag is a system where it's very easy to use, like an Instagram. Our idea was to actually take it to a social media of trees. That kind of vision is there. So what I would suggest is that the younger generation should move focus on doing good to the environment as well, because at the end, after 5 to 10 years, maybe 10 to 20 years, if we don't have an environment, then survivability is will become very difficult. Temperature these days is very high. Global warming is a major crisis. Lot of organization, like sorry, lot of animal species, bird species, they are onto suffering as well. We see the
Food
case of,
shortages.
yes, food shortage is there. When we think about aquatic life, the plastic pollution had made it miserable. We see a lot of videos and newses where turtles, fishes, other aquatic birds as well getting affected. On the land, life on the land is also becoming very difficult. If we don't do the adequate things, then it would become very difficult. Just imagine, we have a very good population of youth community in India. Just calculate, at least 2 trees per student would actually turn down the carbon emission amount a huge level. So my message is that plant trees, protect trees. It is gonna help anyway to us.
Wow, what a beautiful message. And Wazeer,
Yes. Actually, can you just I just broke the connect.
so before we conclude today's episode, any final thoughts that you want to add, and any message that you want to share with our viewers?
Okay, so our underlying principle, or what is our motivation, is basically understanding about what are the situation of climate that Abhijith has mentioned, and how is the impact that we are facing. A lot of issues like waste management problems, afforestation, degradation, ecosystem. So a lot of issues. So understand and act for it. Act for the climate as a common individual. How we can come out and how we can bring a positive impact to the society by thinking of carbon neutrality aspect, how climate change is facing, and how the pollution reduction, all aligned with all the things we should consider while we take a simple step, while we travel or while we do anything in our daily life. Also, we should have to consider while during this meeting also a lot of emissions are producing. So that type of things and offsetting it while traveling, or how possible itself we can do. Through TreeTag itself, anyone can offset their carbon emissions itself. So that's what we are thinking of, and to act for the climate, and to align with the Sustainable Development Goals 2030. That's also another focus we are into the United Nations goals. And Kerala is a good state to start all the initiatives, because Kerala has the top ranked state in SDG index. So we are very happy to start this initiative and scaling it globally across this initiative. Youth community across the globe acting for this initiative can bring a lot of change in climate also. So that's it. Thank you.
I must mention this to our audience when I had suggested to Wazeer that why don't I travel to Trivandrum? We can shoot this episode in person. Wazeer was like, no, you don't have to spend that much carbon emissions. Let's not do that. So he was like, even for my travel, he was calculating, no, let's not do that. So, so I love what you guys are doing, and all the best wishes, and thank you for your valuable time, and thank you.
Thank you, Shruthi. It was a great meeting you. It was a great session. Thank you for having us. Thank you. Thank you, Wazeer, for organizing.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much.